what to ask you. Okay.
All right, we'll do.
Welcome to Getting Better. I am Ann Beal, your host, and I am joined today at NRB. We are actually in Nashville at the National Religious Broadcasters Convention, and I have the Rabbi Jason Sobel, and he is here. I would say he's from The Chosen, but he does so many other things. My co-host is Dr. Jim Slaughter.
Hi, everybody. Good to be with you today.
I'm excited to have you here. Thanks for joining us.
Oh, thank you for having me. I'm excited to be with you all.
You do so many things. You have your new book, The Mysteries of the Messiah. Is this your second book?
Yes. Yeah, it's the second major publication.
Oh, okay.
And then your first book was?
The Rock, the Road, and the Rabbi with Kathie Lee Gifford.
I love that one.
Yeah.
So who came up with that?
She came up with the Rock and the Road, and when I came involved, she added the Rabbi. But technically, I'm not the Rabbi. Jesus is ultimate. But I'm the Rabbi commentating on the Rabbi.
We actually were just learning all about you. And we watched some different shows that you had been on, and you talked about Jonathan Kahn.
Yes.
And
yes.
him, did he lead you to Christ?
Yeah, he led me to the Lord.
All right. And how old were you?
Oh my goodness, I turned about 20. I turned 20 at the time he led me to the Lord. And I was invited by a friend to go to his congregation. At the end of the evening, they dimmed the lights and played the piano and prayed. I figured I needed all the help I could get. I was searching. They said, if you prayed the prayer for the first time, raise your hand. I raised my hand. They said, if you raise your hand, you've just been born again. I had no idea what it meant to be born again. It said Jewish kids should not get born again. I gave my mother enough trouble and I was born once. God only knows. But,
Yes.
the Lord used them.
It was too late.
It's too late.
So once you raised, that was
That's
it.
it.
I said, too late.
Too
You're already
late.
born again.
He said, I saw you raise your hand. You have to stand up. There's no options.
That is exciting, though, at 20.
Yeah.
You know? And that was a little while ago.
A little while
I
ago.
have to ask you about it. And I can imagine the path.
Over 20 years.
Has it been an amazing time? 20 years? Not boring?
Not for, God's got a good sense of humor. He's, one time, a number of years ago, about 15 years ago, God said to me, I'm going to take you through the pits and the prisons, but I'm going to prepare you for the promise. And there's been some pits and prisons. There's been some stripping of the tunic like Joseph had along the way. But you know what? It's been a blessing. God has used it in our lives. And so we got to embrace this thing.
So I'd like to first start off, got to talk about your book.
Yes.
Mysteries of the Messiah, Unveiling Divine Connections from Genesis to Today. Divine Connection.
Don't you think that's a fascinating title? That's what I said. This is an intriguing title. I'm dying to read this book.
Well, tell us about it.
Yeah, there's a couple of reasons why I wrote the book. One is, I'll never forget, I was right before the Super Bowl, and I decided to go out and get a high-definition television. Everything's going to shine. You see the game? And I was like, I watched, I was like, this isn't so great. And then I had a realization at the end of the game, I was looking through the channels, that the higher channels were the high-definition channels. I watched the whole game in standard definition. Oh, wow.
You didn't use your HD. That's what I was doing.
Right. But I feel like many people read the Bible in standard definition when God wants to see us in that definition. When we understand how the old and the new connect, it brings the Bible to life and it reveals mysteries that maybe we might have missed.
It makes it so much more exciting. And I think I did that. I think I was trying to read it when I was young, and I was trying to read it even in college. And I was often in the Old Testament. And I actually had a friend who, he was a strong Christian, and he asked me what my favorite book, because he thought I was a strong Christian. So I've been in church my whole life. And he asked me what my favorite book in the Bible was. And I said, the Old Testament. And he went, I remember his face now. He was very kind at the time, right? He looked confused. And so he was kind, but eventually I attended church. There was a new church being built in Plano. They had outside Dr. Gene Getz coming soon, whatever. And a friend of mine said, I wonder if that's Dr. Gene Getz that wrote The Measure of a Man, right? And so we started, and I'd grown up Baptist, so I'd never been to a Bible church before. And I had never been to hear a pastor he acted out the like Romans, he did the whole book. He acted it out every week, right? And so I never realized I could learn the Bible like that.
Right.
And it really changed my life. And that's why I went to seminary. I wanted to learn more. But I tell you that the mysteries of the Messiah. You want to share some of those?
Yeah, for sure. I mean, for example, what we talk about Messiah in creation, because the idea is that everything that's written in the Bible points to Jesus. We see this from the very first letter in Hebrew. The Genesis opens up with the word Bereshit, it's beginning. The letter B in Hebrew. The last word of the book of Revelation, the last of the Bible, is the word. In Hebrew, the first and last letters of the Bible spell the word Ben, which means son. Because from the first letter to the last letter, it all points to Jesus. And, when we think about creation, think about it from, it all started in the garden. The symbol of Christianity is the cross. Well, why did Jesus have to die? Well, think about it for a moment. How did sin enter the world? The first man and woman took from the tree. Couldn't fix it. So God put the second Adam, Jesus, back on the tree for you and me to redeem and to repair what it is that they broke. Jesus' hands were pierced because our hands stole from the tree. His side was pierced because the woman who led Adam into temptation was taken from his sides, making an atonement for Eve as well. His feet are pierced. Why? Because what's the first messianic prophecy? The seed of the woman would crush the head of the serpent. Satan's mocking the promises of God. He nails Jesus' feet to the tree, but he didn't realize he was actually fulfilling the promises of God. A crown of thorns on his head. Why? What's the sign of the curse of creation? The ground would produce thorns and thistles. He's literally taken the curse of creation on his head to break the curse and to restore the blessing.
Oh my goodness. Did you know all that?
I had not looked into the symbolism behind all those parts of the logic of this. So thank you for sharing that.
He was a seminary professor. I tell him so much. I say, oh my gosh, with all our seminary training, there is so much that we don't know. And a lot of things that, was academic, right?
Yeah.
And I feel like we've learned so much in the last probably 10 years. Just unbelievable. And so you were a Jew. You are a Jew. I shouldn't say
Jewish,
you were. You're Jewish by blood, right?
Yeah.
And then were you an unbelieving Jew?
Yeah. I grew up in a traditional Jewish family in the Holy Land, New Jersey. There were more Jews than in Jerusalem.
Yes, there are there.
I was working in the music industry, and through the lives of all these famous people, said there has to be more to life than just this. We got a spiritual journey. Started sewing with my rabbi, and God just kind of led me on this path.
Well, I tell you, it's good to meet you. And one of the things that we normally haven't used,
I know.
That's why I'm not used to it right now, but that's all right. Your involvement with the Chosen, what is it exactly? What does that do with them?
Yeah, so I've been involved with The Chosen from its inception. From the time it was a vision to make the series, I took Dallas and a number of the team to Israel, because part of the decision from the inception is that they wanted to bring the stories into its original Jewish, historic, Hebraic context. So we're like, look, we've got to go to the land of Israel. We've got to see where it happened, and let's walk through this. And so was there when they were making the original promotional crowdfunding video in Israel. And so, I've helped make a number of different videos for The Chosen to help launch it and raise the funds for it. I was the first spiritual advisor on The Chosen, so read all the scripts for both the biblical accuracy of the scripts as well as the all the Jewish aspects of the scripts, advising them on. And then we also have we do all the roundtables for The Chosen, behind the scenes roundtables. And then we have actually a TV show on TVN called The Chosen Unveiled, where we take clips of The Chosen and we then explain the deeper symbolism of what's going on.
We have not seen that
I
yet.
know.
We
I was
keep
just
saying
thinking,
we need
to look at that.
We do.
Yeah.
Well, tell me what you said about the first season of The Chosen, because we went through it.
We said many things about it, but it took us a year after the first series came on TV before we even looked at it.
Right.
And we kept thinking, we just thought it was another Jesus movie or something.
Yeah.
You know, we weren't sure. And then so but one night we had some time and we thought let's just watch something, and we decided to go ahead and watch the first episode 1, season 1. And we watched it and were so absolutely blown away by that because of many things, but the realness of it. Well, and the fact that here was a production that, I hate to call it that, but production that portrayed Jesus and the people around him in ways that were so much more realistic than anything I'd ever seen on the screen before. And I kept thinking, this is a Jesus. This is a Jesus. This may be Jesus for me, when it comes to, I don't know, face with a name.
Right.
And since then, we found that many people have said the same thing. I was touched by the compassion that you guys, whoever built into that character. The people are so good in portraying characters that they do. You see so many.
But biblically, we were blown away. Because I kept asking him. He has the PhD. He was the professor for 20 years, and so I just was there for like 7. But I was like, "Is this act like? What do you think about this? That because you don't really know what the disciples were like before they met Jesus, right?
Yeah.
But it's not. It's what do you call that? It's not biblical."
Yeah. Look, one of the things I love about The Chosen is they've chosen to. Many of the Jesus films kind of portray this ethereal, otherworldly Jesus who doesn't even look like he might be physically present on Earth, but he's somewhere else. Like he's, it's like is he fully there? Like he's so heavenly minded, it almost seems like he's unapproachable, right? What I love about The Chosen is that they really bring out the humanity of Jesus, right? And that he was a person that you actually want to be around, and that would be fun to be around and a joy to be around, and as well as kind of how the lives of individuals who experienced him, how their lives were changed. So Jesus, of course, is central to it, but it's also essential to it is the lives of the disciples and the individuals who find their healing, or find their encounters with God as a result of that. And I think that it's just a beautiful portrayal of a Jesus that we can relate to in the heart of God, heart of the Father. And Jonathan Arumi is a friend of mine. I love. He comes to our house for a lot of the Jewish holidays, or the holidays, and when he was over at our house last year for Passover, my boys turned to me and said, "Jason," they said, "Dad," they said, it's a little weird that Jesus is sitting at the table and you're leading the Passover."
And I was wondering for you, being the Jewish biblical, advisor, when they're using all these really real props. And so did you help with those, like to make sure the props were truly Jewish?
Yeah. I mean, parts of it, yes. I mean, it's like, initially, for example, initially when they designed the garments that they were wearing, the clothes that they were wearing, the tunics, they didn't put the ritual fringes on them in the CC. I was like, look, there's, you got to put these on because Jesus wore them. We know he wore them because when the woman reached out to touch the hem of his garment, that's what she reached out and touched.
Now, what is that?
So
it's like that.
Yeah, in Numbers it says on every 4 corner garment you're to put these tassels, the Hebrew or CC, and they're basically 4 folded over pieces of not string, it's string. And there's to be a blue, dyed blue, one of them in that color. And they symbolize one reminder to be faithful to keep God's commandments. And it's connected to the fact that the children of Israel, when they sent the spies into the land, they strayed after their eyes. And so it says, whenever you see these, you won't do like the spies did and stray after your eyes, but you'll remember to keep your eyes on me and follow, be faithful to read and follow my commandments. And that's what the woman with the issue of blood, when she reaches out and touches, I hope I can say this, we're going to see that in the next season. Read the season 3 scripts. I can't reveal too much, but yeah, and it's actually a fulfillment of the messianic prophecy found in the book of the prophets. It says, "And the Son of Righteousness will rise up with healing in his wings." The word for wings is the same word for the wings of the sky. So when the flow reaches out and touches the hem or the wings of his garment, the Son of Righteousness rises up in healing, and she gets healed.
See, I love the authenticity. That's what you found where you were talking about. And just that material, if you have any biblical background or training, those things help everything come alive. I was excited to see Simon the Zealot actually be from the assassins killer, Jessica, and they actually would slip up in the crowd and execute people, things like that. So I thought, but it was so subtle the way things like that are included. And so I have talked up the authenticity of that series so much, and you're a huge part of that.
Yeah, it's been a blessing to be part of the community, a small part, a small part of the process. And yeah, it's incredible to see what God is doing with things here.
It's helped me, and part of it is to understand, like Simon the Zealot, right? I'm like, but I didn't know he was an assassin, and they looked at me. Okay, well, I didn't think of it like that, right? Like, so to me, seeing it, I'm a person that kind of needs to see it all. And I just get so excited about it. It's been amazing. And we've told so many people. Let me ask you,